Thank you for your interest in QuiNect ODBC for QuickBase. I'm assuming you've downloaded and installed QuiNect ODBC for QuickBase and that you've watched the Getting Started video and followed the directions there. I'm going to launch the 64-bit ODBC admin control panel, and I'm going to click on the System tab, and then I'm going to configure this DSN. Because you've watched the Getting Started video and followed those directions, you've filled in the username, the password, the application token, and you've tested the connection. When you press this button, you get a message telling you there was no error, which means that your credentials are correct, but it also has the effect of populating this drop down here with a list of all the applications you have access to. I'm going to choose AAA Project Manager. What this does is it focuses QuiNect ODBC for QuickBase on that single application, so that all applications that use QuiNect ODBC for QuickBase are only going to see the tables in that application. As an example here, we can see that SQL Server Management Studio will show us only the tables in the AAA Project Manager. I'm going to demonstrate that by creating a new link server. I'm going to call that QuickBase. Then you have to choose the correct provider. That's going to be Microsoft ODB provider for ODBC drivers. You want to make sure that you've chosen this particular provider. And then you need to fill in the product name, QuNect, and the data source is going to be where we just were in the ODBC control panel, QuickBase via QuNect 64-bit. Click OK, and we have a link server. Now if we dive into that link server, we can see that we only have one application here instead of the half a dozen or so that we have access to. If we open up tables, we're going to see a list of tables just in that application. And you'll notice that we have system tables here that we can expand, and we see two additional tables. Users roles. This is a table of all the users that have access to the application along with what their role is. It includes groups in that list as well. And you can edit, you can delete, you can add records here, and that will change who has access to the application or what role they're in. The variables system table shows you all the variables in your application, and you can add new variables, you can modify existing ones. You just can't delete any variables here, and that's because of a limitation of the QuickBase API. In addition to that, you also have views which show you all the table reports in your application. And as you can see, the contacts table, the document library, the issues table, they all have multiple entries here because there are multiple table reports for those applications. And the secret here is that the contacts table has a database identifier, DBID, or table identifier BC45C8XJR. Table reports use the same number followed by a tilde and a report ID. Now, you may ask, how do I know what the report ID of a table report is? Well, that's pretty easy. You go to your QuickBase application, and then you click on the table that you're interested in, contacts in this case. Then you click on Settings. Then you click on Reports and Charts. And you'll notice here that there's a column all the way on the right called Report ID. That's the number you put after the tilde of that table report. So that's how you indicate to QuiNect ODBC for QuickBase that you want a table report as opposed to just the raw table. Let's dive into this users roles table to see what's there. I'm going to right click on it and select Script Table As, select to New Query Editor window. Now what happens is you're going to get an error message here saying that it contains no columns. That's actually not true. This is a limitation of SQL Server and its ability to connect to link servers through ODBC drivers. It's never able to get the column information in this context. So don't worry about that. But what's nice about this is we do have the four-part name of the table, which allows us, I've just copied it to the clipboard, and I'm going to type up my select statement. I'm going to say select star from, and I'm going to paste the name of the table, and then we're going to execute this statement. And then you'll see the access control list, which includes the user ID, the user type, the username, some information about the user when they last accessed, the role that they're in and the role ID. So the only two columns that one can change here are the role ID and the user ID. And those will allow you to manipulate who is in the application and what role they have. These other columns are read-only columns that come along when you fill in the user ID and the role ID. Variables, we can do a similar thing here. We can do the delete to statement scripting, and then it's easier in a sense because we just have to change this one word here. And we'll get rid of the where clause so we can see what's going on here. And then we'll see a two-column table which shows us the name and the value of the application variables in that app. And here we can add new records, we can modify existing ones, but we can't delete any records because of a limitation of the QuickBase HTTP API. That's just one of the new features in QuiNect ODBC for QuickBase 2016.